Hey guys, welcome back to my chapter review of chapter 1033 of One Piece called Shimozuki Kozaburo, which we later find out is the one that actually created the Wado Ichimonji and the new sword that Zoro is wielding, the Enma sword. Enma sword. What? Why did I say it like that? Enma. And we get a silly little cover request and we jump right into the chapter. We catch up where we left off with Zoro versus King, and we see that Enma's still acting up, acting weird. We don't get anything about Hiyori this chapter. We actually get some amazing confirmations and fan service at the end of the chapter where it gets revealed Zoro gets some long awaited conquerors haki, and it's an incredible scene, incredible moment. But we'll get to that part. There we catch up where we leave off. King is fighting Zoro. King lunges at Zoro while the sword is acting up. Zoro's freaking out, and then King just stops right in front of Zoro like a power move, and it's very reminiscent of when Luffy fought Katakuri, where he's just overpowering. He's almost toying, saying, "Hit me if you can." And Zoro goes ahead and lunges with his sword, and he makes contact, and he's like, yes, that was a direct hit. But then all of a sudden we catch a huge explosion, and we cut over to Sanji versus Queen saying, oh, was that was that the sword guy? He's not gonna win, right? Because King is basically this immortal god. Well, his race is an extinct race called the Lunarians, where they were basically considered gods. They're almost unkillable. And Sanji asked the obvious question. Well, if they were so amazing and revered as gods, how'd they get taken out? And then Queen just mocks, saying, read a history book about it. So there's something there about King's race where they were eradicated or exterminated. We don't know how, but it would be amazing to find that lore, because how indeed using haki's not working for Zoro, using his sword and cutting moves is not working for Zoro. So how exactly was King's race, gone basically extinct here? So Zoro remarks, the next panel is Zoro remarks that if he didn't put up his armament haki, he's probably going to be dead. At that distance, that giant explosion would have probably taken him out. And he goes ahead and uses what he calls an even stronger move than the last one, Death Lion Song. And we see that it cuts up King. But Zoro takes a moment, looks back, and then King's charging up his I don't even know what to call it. His pullback attack on. He pulls on his head and he slings it forward. He throws that, and Enma starts freaking out in the middle of the fight, and he takes it's like a callback to when Luffy fought Katakuri, and he takes a hit. He barely dodges out of the way, but he takes a hit right on like the side of his obliques, and he falls. Like, Enma, this is not a good time to be freaking out. Enma's actually acting up a lot in this fight. Enma wasn't acting up really at all during the Kaido fight, which is weird. But it seems to be giving him a lot of issues in these few panels. With that attack by King, it seems like he breaks through the ground, and it sends Zoro flying down the ground. It sends him crumbling down because it breaks the ground. He's falling, but he dives down to catch Kitetsu, which honestly incredible, because Kitetsu, like, he's risking his life to go down, saving the sword. Kitetsu, it's not Wado, it's not Enma. He values, and it shows how much he cares for every single sword he has, which might make it so he actually might keep Kitetsu here, instead of what other people want to happen, which is he gets the upgraded Kitetsu, the other Kitetsu that's being held by what's his name? Well, I forgot his name, but the other Kitetsu is being held on Wano, And King notices that he dove down, so he goes ahead and kicks him back up to the land. And Zoro mentions, "Oh, that was hot, that kick. So some attacks are hot, some attacks aren't." He's definitely building up a game plan. He's finding some things out, figuring some things out about King, and it's probably going to be revealed, or Zoro's going to test something out that'll end up working. So he's probably going to do the fire cutting move and figure out that King is probably made of fire, or he's very elemental based, maybe, or there's a secret with his species where there's something there. And he lands. He's gonna go pick up Wado Ichimonji. He's glad it didn't fall off. And he gets a memory flashback of him asking and begging for Wado Ichimonji, and he's gonna go ahead and use this sword to become the world's greatest swordsman. And he remembers that the same swordsman that crafted the Wado Ichimonji, it crafted Enma. But what is the person that made such a famous sword, Enma, also made Wado Ichimonji in East Blue? Like, it's very random that a famous swordsman was in East Blue in a little village. And he starts finally piecing together that it's not a coincidence that these were named Shimotsuki Village, Shimotsuki this. He's starting to piece together and connect dots. And without some time, King goes ahead and makes fun. "Oh, you finally got all three swords?" And he goes ahead to attack Zoro. And we finally get some much desperately needed flashback of Zoro's past and the dojo. And we finally get to see the old man at the village that was referenced to be a samurai of Wano. And we have young Zoro talking to this person, and him at a young age him at an old age can maybe see that Zoro could potentially have potential. He could have potential. And he gives him some swords to train. He sees that he's training in the two-sword style, and he goes ahead to explain to Zoro that, swords have their own will, their own calling, their own their own disposition, as the old man says. So if they were referred to as cursed, that means they have an amazing quality to them. So even Kitetsu, who's referenced as a cursed blade, and Laws, who's referenced as a cursed blade, are great swords. They were forged by great swordsmen, or blacksmiths, great blacksmiths, and they're great quality. So it gives them even more characteristic. And if you can tame those swords, it makes it a badge of honor even. The old man references that his best work, his best sword, the greatest one he's made when he was young, is called the Lord of the Underworld. And he doesn't say the name, but he knows by Hiyori that the name is Enma, to reference the Lord of the Underworld, the overseer of the Underworld. And Zoro connects all these dots, finally seeing that this is such an amazing quality blade, and somebody like Odin was able to just wield this blade effortlessly. Zoro finally pulls through. He gets up, grabs Enma, and says, "Well, if Odin was able to wield you effortlessly, this is just a test for me to, show that he can wield Enma himself." And he goes ahead and throws and pours every single bit of haki that he can into Enma to control it and overflow it. Instead of restricting the sword from getting haki from him, he pours everything into the sword, so much so that it overflows. And this sent shivers down my spine that we get to finally see some conquerors haki officially confirmed by the manga, and by King saying that you must have kingly ambitions. Yes, he does. He wants to be right next to King of the Pirates, the world's greatest swordsman. And that chapter almost brought a tear to my eye. I was so happy to read that. The ecstatic moment that we get to confirm Zoro has conquerors haki. Honestly, what an incredible moment in One Piece to finally get that confirmation that Zoro gets his conquerors haki debut, knocking out some fodder, showing kingly ambitions to King. I wonder if King has conquerors haki also. And now it kind of makes it so I wonder if Sanji is gonna have conquerors haki. Maybe he has a different ambition that can rival that. Maybe that's a little too far fetched. Maybe he does get it later on. Hard to say, right? It would be nice to have him also get conquerors haki because that's a big boost to Zoro in the charts, in power. Like the potential of what he can do with conquerors haki now is great. So it's an amazing chapter. Predictions for next chapter would be, finally getting some Luffy versus Kaido, or we just finish off with Sanji versus Queen, or a little bit of Sanji versus Queen, a little bit more of King versus Zoro, and we get some Hiyori versus Orochi, which I really, really want to see Hiyori bring out like a two sword style or something to fight Orochi. But that's it for me now, guys. Hope you liked the review. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.